had to end one way or another.
Siemaneczko, ludzisko, zapraszam na drugi odcinek. Gramy dalej. Czekajcie, tutaj chyba jedyna
I can't
możliwość.
describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Jedyna możliwość to chyba zajrzenie przez okno. Tędy się już chyba nie da wyjść. Czy co, to będziemy się zamieniać w kota? No nie, zobaczymy. Kurczę, no trzeba przyznać, że grafika tutaj robi wrażenie.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Mam nadzieję, że będziemy mogli tam spacerować po tym ogrodzie.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Dobra, gra się zapisała, spoczko.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Ja cię
The room
pierdolę.
is like a museum.
Odin, dobra, tu mamy kolejną historię. Zaraz sobie ją
Edie gave a
ogramy.
big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Co to kurwa za...
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Dobra, nie będziemy wychodzić stąd, tylko sobie przeczytamy ten dziennik, który nam rozpocznie pewnie kolejną... Nie, to nie jest dziennik. Kurde, ślepy jest.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
No, można zapisać kolejny.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Ciekawe, zapisywanie. Dobra, nie wyjdziemy tu. Tych detali tutaj jest tyle tego, że ja pierdziu. Co to za łazienka znowu?
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Nic tu nie ma poza tym. The secret in the bathroom. My drodzy, będziemy się chyba kąpać.
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Tajemnica jest.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Wow. Ale skrytka, kuźwa.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
O cholera, jasna. Jakie zakamarki, kuźwa. Po co ja tu przyszedłem? Tutaj de facto to chyba nie ma żadnych rzeczy, które moglibyśmy kliknąć. Nawet tutaj nie możemy wejść na górę.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Kevin, dobra, to tą historię będziemy musieli, moi drodzy, przejść 2 razy, żeby zdobyć achievement.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Już sobie... Już
But
sobie...
that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
O cholera, jasna.
I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Taka historia. No i poleciał w piździec.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Sporo tych jeszcze postaci mam tutaj do odblokowania. Gra się zapisała, dobra.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
O matko i córko. Ej, tu się nie da wyjść.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
A to co to jest? Kurczę, ja pierdziu. Ale
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Czekajcie, bo tu mam przejście, zaraz nie wiem gdzie. Może tu. Barbara. Tu już zaglądaliśmy? Tak, tu też żeśmy zaglądali. Okej, czyli się wróciliśmy de facto tutaj na początek. Ja sobie jeszcze zajrzę jeszcze raz dokładnie do tych drzwi, bo tutaj jest ta czynność jest związana z osiągnięciem. No to żeśmy wszędzie chyba zaglądali już, dobra. Dobra, wracamy z powrotem. Tylko pytanie, czy ja tam będę mógł wejść. Dobra, da się.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Cholera.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your
Taki
basement door
komiks.
locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20
Dobra.
minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Ja cię pierdzielę, co to jest? Potem możemy zdobyć achievementa, musimy
She
wszystkie...
found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Wszystkie kule, wszystkie przedmioty ze stołu. Dobra, posprzątane. Mamy to osiągnięcie. Okej. Kurde, co to się dzieje?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Shit. Zapilarka.
urge rattled and grew still.
Cykam się, otwieramy ją.
Oh dear!
O kurde, wcześniej się to... I kurde.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Pierdziele, co to akcja.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
No fajna historia. Wracamy na dół. Kuźwa mać, musimy go dobić. Wydaje mi się, że to jest ktoś przebrany z naszej rodziny. No nie wiem, zaraz zobaczymy, o co tu chodzi.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Shit.
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
No ładnie.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true.
Tak.
Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara she had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
No kurde. Ja cię pierdzielę. Ładny przypał.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Dobra, ja pierdzielę, jaka historia Barbary. Gra się zapisała, ale jeszcze nie kończymy. Jeszcze parę minutek zagramy. Trzeba teraz stąd wyjść jakoś. Wracamy tędy. Żebyśmy musieli teraz zejść do piwnicy. Dobra, spróbujmy. W zasadzie to teraz nie wiem, gdzie
I
iść.
guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
A, dobra, podpowiedź. Pozytywka. Wracamy. Pozytywka tutaj była na parterze.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Ja cię pierdzielę, trochę się cykam nam schodzić. Ale generalnie jest strasznie ciemno. Czekajcie, gdzie ta pozytywka była? Tutaj, dobra. Trzeba kręcić, aż się kluczyk nam tutaj pojawi w ręce. Cykam się trochę, tam schodzi na dół. Aha. Tutaj byliśmy przed chwilą. Ta cyrkularka. Tak? Czy piła tarczowa, czy jak to tam zwał?
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
No. A ktoś tutaj ładnie sobie... O, proszę.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Ja powiem wam, naprawdę w świecie te skrytki są. Strasznie tu cholera ciemno jest.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
No właśnie, każdy zginął. Jedyny wspólny mianownik. Walter. Moi drodzy, nie będziemy rozpoczynać już tej historii. Tu sobie skończymy ten odcinek. To jest jakaś fototapeta, czy co to jest? Także moi drodzy, tutaj skończymy sobie ten odcinek. Historię Waltera rozpoczniemy w następnym odcinku. Ja się z wami żegnam. Dzięki za uwagę. Jebnijcie suba, komentarz pod filmem, zadajcie jakieś pytanie. Z chęcią na nie odpowiem. Bye bye.